want to welcome to this edition of Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, and today we're going to talk about Season 2 of the mega hit on Bounce and streaming on Brown Sugar. It's called Johnson. The series creator is Deji LaRay. He stars in the show along with his co-creator, Thomas Q. Jones, Philip A. Smithey, and Derrex Brady. Now, they also have a supporting cast that's just amazing, led by D.L. Hughley, Rosa Acosta, Chloe James, James Austin Kerr, and Jessica Luza. It's a dramedy. It's told from the black male perspective. The series shines a light, a much needed one, we might say, on hot button stereotypes and misconceptions. The program is filmed on location in Atlanta. It follows four black men who met in grade school, and they've been best friends ever since. The one thing they have in common is their last name, Johnson. They're not related, though, but they might as well be. Their brotherhood and friendship has lasted 25 years. Well, today we are blessed. We do not have just one, we have two executive producers, Reesha L, Archibald and Eric Rhone. And guys, one of the things that jumps out about Johnson is the fact there's plenty of chemistry. Let's talk about the chemistry first.
Awesome. That was the goal. And one thing I can say about Deji and Thomas um when they cast, when they cast for the four main characters, Deji and Thomas had already had relationships with Philip and Derek from the pilot that they shot. And so that I feel like that time in between when they shot the pilot to when we actually sold it was actually necessary for them to really build the bond that they created, because like you said, it really does come across on the screen because they literally are very close friends. And so it was like the perfect marriage for us, when we came across the project, because you could just tell that they're brothers, and it definitely feels organic and genuine because it is.
The funny thing, when I was talking to Deji in the beginning when we were talking last year, I had seen the trailer. I'm not sorry, the screeners, and I said, you guys come off as really solid, tight guys, but the women actually run the show, and they laugh and they go, didn't start out that way, but it certainly went that way. And I think that's part of the fun of the show is that you can feel comfortable in yourself, but at the end of the day, myself included, we all have strong women behind us, and without those women, we don't succeed.
Absolutely.
So
Eric,
from Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, Eric, did you want to add to any of that?
No, I think you guys are nailing it. Like most things, men kind of jump out there and we get going, with the broad strokes, and then women are able to really come in and solidify and help focus and help bring details to matters that make it really what it's supposed to be. And so I think Johnson was kind of, if you look at that, the
Hmm.
character, the women are kind of really, it happens in real life. Women
Sure.
tend to be more detailed, more focused, more, really, really just forensically about
Right.
things. And men we tend to live in broad strokes and just kind of
Yeah.
theory.
In
So
the
yeah,
moment. Yeah.
right, exactly.
It's one of the things that struck me about the show is that you do relate to them, and it doesn't matter what color you are, what ethnicity, from a background, where you came from. There is a little bit for everybody in
Yeah.
this friendship and this tapestry that you guys have weaved together. Is that something you started off doing, or is that something that grew as the show went along?
That's something that started off that way. Deji is such an intuitive person.
Uh-huh.
He created the entire thing, and
Mhm.
I believe that that's one of the things that really drew us to the project, that it did really hit home. It felt um very relatable, and it's just really humanizing black men and black women in the
Mhm.
relationship they have with each other. Um and you're right. It hits home because these are just human stories. Everybody
Right.
deals with, divorce,
Hmm.
or you know, everybody deals with trying to be good parents. Everybody
Right.
deals with religion. Everybody deals with trying to find themselves and
Hmm.
go to the next level. And everybody deals with friendships and
Hmm.
family and just all those things. And that's what we really love about this show. It doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. Somebody who are like these characters.
Right.
I remember I was on set one day, first season, and the police officer on duty that day, I
Hmm.
was talking to him outside, and he said, "This is a really great show." And he was Hispanic. He said,
Right.
just the little things I've seen, I can think of my cousin who had been through that. You
Right.
know, so it was just really awesome just to see or talk to somebody in real time who just got a glimpse of it, to be
Hmm.
able to say, "You know what? This is like my family." And so, just little things like that remind us that or how important it is to tell just real stories
Hmm.
uh, that can really encourage people. Like you said earlier, it's edutainment. Like Deji and Thomas and our team, Bert and Bear, we're very um, conscientious about doing meaningful projects. We don't want to
Hmm.
just put any old thing out there. We
Right.
want to do our best to make sure we're teaching as we go, that it's fun, but that it's making people think, that it's driving conversations, that it's kind of smashing stereotypes
Hmm.
and broadening people's horizons on how Black people live and what they look like and how they act and how they relate to each other. So yeah.
For me, the fun part of watching the show um, is that you can. We talked about the relating aspect to it, but the other part is that you do get a feel for how these guys really came together and decided, you know what? It's funny, friendships, as we all know, especially friendships going back as far as some of these, um, that's you have to work at that.
Hmm.
Friendships are like any other relationship.
Yeah.
If you don't work at it, it doesn't flourish. And I think part of the charm of the show is the ability for these guys to at times not be happy with themselves, much like brothers would under normal circumstances, right?
Mhm.
But but I'm not going to talk to you for an hour, okay? I'm good. We'll be good, but just give me some time and space because what you just didn't sit with me.
Yeah.
So I think that series two, I'm excited. I did see the screeners for it. Why don't you fill us in on what we're looking for in series two?
Really, I think that just kind of thinking about one real fast,
Hmm.
I think Deji did a great job and the other writers did a great job of really establishing these characters.
Hmm.
So in season 2, we just really do a deep dive into what really drives them, what makes them
Hmm.
tick,
Right.
what what are the little nuances about each of them that keeps them together and then drives them back together. Because as you saw in the first season, there were a couple
Right.
of things that kind of drove. We left the series wondering, are these folks going to get back together? And so
Hmm.
in season 2, we really see how they are able to, um, hold each other accountable,
Right.
how they are able to push through the adversity, whether it be individually or collectively.
Hmm.
Um, we see them really trying to bridge gaps, and we see them dealing with very hard situations, things that they could not, um, or they did or did not have control of.
Right.
Um, they deal with body shaming. They deal with religion in a huge way. They deal with just a lot of heavy topics. But again, it's a dramedy, so there's a lot of comedy in there. You have these brothers, and so there's going to be a lot of banter back and forth that keeps you going. So it's a good balance of just various scenarios that will really drive home the various thoughts that we wanted to really touch on, or the subjects that we wanted to touch on. And so you'll see a lot of situations where they're really trying to keep everything together, and how to go about that. Eric, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I think overall what we strive to do is with Johnson is, you know, take the um, artist's work, really take what Deji wrote, take the gifts that the actors are bringing to the project, bringing to this, and when we try to do it, Barry Barris really just, you know, uh, take down as many filters or any barriers as we can to make sure that what Deji and Thomas and everyone really intended is what you see on screen.
Right. You know, one of the beauties of the time we live in, with, of course, with streaming video, and of course, Bounce is available on traditional linear as well as, streaming, um, is that a show like this can get made,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and people can see it, and people can see it not just, in certain parts of the country, but they can see it all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in many ways, as someone who's been in a television producer director for 45 years, um, I can say this, to me, it's the golden age, because now programming from Australia, from Canada, from the UK, from all the English speaking part of the world,
Mm-hmm.
there's a place to put things, and you can niche program, and you can get to an audience, and you don't need to have 7, 8, 10 million people watch the show. You can flourish with a show like this, because this is a show, to me, that's like we used to say in the it's old time in the business. As I said, I'm old in this business. It was a water cooler show. It's a show that you watch, and the next day you want to talk about it. And
Mm-hmm.
there aren't that many shows that are like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really the goal, when Deji and Thomas brought this to us. We recognized that this was going to be the type of show that would really drive conversations for our community,
Mhm.
because they're touching on topics and scenarios that we don't usually talk about, and
Right.
so or have a hub for it. You know what I mean? Like, we
Sure.
might talk about it in silos, but
Mhm.
I've talked to so many people, friends and family, and just random people on the that I bump into, who recognize that I'm a part of the show,
Mhm.
and they're like, you know this show has really touched me, or this saved my life, or it's
Mhm.
really caused me and my fiance to have these conversations. So it's doing what we sought for it to do. And that's extremely exciting. And honestly, we couldn't have asked for a better partner in Bounce. David Hudson and his team over there,
Mhm.
they've been just really blessings to work with.
Mhm.
And we really feel like Bounce was the perfect group to work with on this project in particular, because they allowed us to speak authentically.
Mhm.
With a show like this, it can't be watered down,
No.
and you have to be in a situation that allows you to be true to the narrative, and
Mhm.
Bounce has done that, and so we're extremely appreciative and grateful to have partnered with them on this project.
That's great, because the last thing you want to see is a bunch of network executives sending you notes about the script.
Right.
It's like, please
And
leave me alone. Yes.
yeah, and they do give notes, but they're
Mhm.
great notes. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They're thoughtful,
Yeah.
they're considerate, and in spaces where they might not understand it, we have conversation. And
Mhm.
we come to a happy medium. So it just works out. It works, and we're really grateful for that.
So when does series 2 begin?
So it actually started a few weeks ago.
Oh,
We aired
I had
episode.
my problem.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
That's okay. It started airing July 10th.
Okay.
So we just had our third episode air this past Sunday. So it airs every Sunday through. Is it September, Eric?
I believe it is. I'm looking at the schedule, and yeah, it looks that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is it's available the following day on the streaming app, right?
Yes, the Brown Sugar app. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we want to get that plug in for the Brown Sugar folks as well.
Thank you.
Because the streaming aspect of it is always good because we're in a time in our lives where prime time is whenever you want it to be.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
that's the fun part, right? Is
Yeah.
that if I miss the Johnsons on a Sunday night, I can see them on a Monday or a Tuesday, or I can watch them at lunch.
Right. Or you can watch them all together,
Yeah, you can binge it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Thanks to Reesha L, Archibald and Eric Rhone, two of the executive producers and powerhouse behind The Johnsons. You can see it every Sunday night on Bounce and also stream it the next day on Brown Sugar. We'll be back with more of Stream On right after this from BMW.
At BMW, we know leaving the road wasn't easy, but anticipating our return taught us to appreciate every drive. The exhilaration of the ultimate adventure. Moments spent with your favorite co-pilots. And the freedom to explore just because. Our time to rejoin the road is finally here.
Welcome back to Stream On. I'm Jim Williams, your host. Now, if you're not one of the over 75,000 people who are part of the community worldwide here at Stream On, we encourage you to go out and become one. Now, it's very simple. It's free. You can get us at the iTunes Store. You can get us at Google Play. You can get us at Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as, of course, Amazon Radio, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio. So pretty much anywhere you get your podcast, you can find Stream On. Okay? All right. Please go out there and subscribe today and download this edition and all editions of Stream On. Do it once, and every week this is going to come right to your phone, your tablet, or to your assisted device, like, say, Alexa or Google or, of course, Siri. All right? So we make it simple, and we want you to become part of that worldwide community. All right? Okay. Now, next week, we're going to start our binge season. We do it every summer. And the first show we're going to talk about is The Tower, which is a BritBox BBC ITV show, and it's a fantastic thriller. We know you're going to like it. It's been well reviewed, and we talked to a number of people before about The Tower, and we're going to do a clip from an interview that we did earlier in the year about The Tower and tell you why it's very bingeable. Okay, so next week it'll be The Tower from BritBox as we start our season of summer binging right here on Stream On. Till then, thank you all very much for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Stream On.